Welcome back, brothers, to another episode of the O'Shea Vlogcast. I am your host, O'Shea, back with my man, and I would have to say my big bro as far as I'm older than him, though, right? But as far as African tourism and getting my yellow fever card, this brother was so instrumental in speeding up that process. His last time that he was here on the actual show, you made a lot of strong points, which actually went ahead and made me buy my ticket to go to Uganda. That is none other than Dynast Amir from the YouTube channel Search for Uhuru. You see, he got the little African shirt on there. Shit.
Got the top time.
Oh, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where'd you get that from, fam? Where'd you get that from?
Senegal. My a good friend of mine, he makes them in Senegal. He's my business partner as well. So when you go to www.dynastamir.com, you can actually get these specially made. And I have a closet full of them. So I have so many. I'm probably gonna end up selling some of them and getting some more done. But yeah, my guy, he makes them in Senegal. So if you guys are interested in one, just I'll put the link in the description, or I'll put the link in the chat room. But for some reason, my links, when I try to post them, they won't show up. In fact, I get a remove any web addresses and try again. I get that error message. So www.dynastamir.com, and we can definitely make these for you. Everything is handmade. All I need is your measurements. Instructions are on the site. So yeah.
What's the price on this? Really nice, man. What's the price on that joint right now?
I got you, O'Shea, but
no, I mean for them, man. We want to get
looking at 120 to 130 for the garb and the pants. But everything is handmade.
That's
it's all
actually
custom.
straight. Okay, I'm actually might get one of them joints, man, because I'm gonna be out here in Poland and stun somebody in the club. Just walk in with some, how Africans do it, with some loafers with no socks on, with that thing on. Woo! But anyways, man, we're gonna talk about the particular topic. My visit to Africa from an African American experience, and I wanted to call it this show. I know we're gonna talk a little bit about my trip, but let's take it back to you. You've been to at least 7 African countries. From an African American perspective, I know you said this many times when you've been on the show, but what drew you to continue to visit Africa and to learn more about Africa?
I think for me, it was more about changing the stereotypes that have been placed on Africa. That's why I continue to go, so I can document the truth on Africa, the people, and the culture. And then also too, not to change the subject, but I want Black people to understand that, because we're the only people that think like this. And I've had several arguments about this, or discussions or debates on Facebook in regards to this, especially when it comes to Cuba. The diaspora does not replace Africa. Only Black people, the diaspora, use this excuse that since there are Black people in Harlem, since there are Black people in Bahia, since there are Black people in Cuba, and that replaces traveling to Africa. That's not true. Okay, you always will have the motherland. You're not gonna get that same experience culturally in a place like Cuba or in Bahia like you will Africa. Yes, there are some people that have, I guess, somewhat kept the culture to a point, but you're not gonna get that in Africa. So I encourage people to save your money and go to Africa. I'm not knocking Cuba, I'm not knocking the diaspora, but you will not get that same experience. It's impossible. So I just wanted to put that. So I think that really going after the negative stereotypes and changing that stereotypes and documenting the truth, that's what drives me to go to Africa. I mean, I love the people, I love the food, I love the culture, I love the clothing. I mean, you can't get this in America. That's why I absolutely love Africa.
Let's talk about the diaspora, because we do have a lot of people teaching about the diaspora. I mean, we had people like John Henrik Clark, Dr. Amos, I forgot this guy's name. A lot of people who, and now you have your Kemet kind of people, your Hoteps, these people who probably many of them never went to Africa, but they teach about the continent. You have people like Marcus Garvey who never went to Africa. Why does the diaspora spend so much time talking about Africa but never going, in your opinion?
It's twofold. I think number one, they claim to not have the funds to go, but I always challenge that I guess reason is because they will spend so much money on BS like overhyped vegan food, alkaline water, and take care of your body. But I just think so much just overhyped products and services just to claim that they're conscious, that instead of just taking that money and buying a ticket, they won't do that. So I think a lot of that plays into it. And also, too, the stereotypes. A lot of these so-called conscious people who claim to be so smart, they still fall for the stereotypes and believe in the stereotypes on Africa. So I think those are the two major reasons why they won't go is, again, A, they waste money on crystals, big crystal necklace because it's supposed to give you the energy of the gods, alkaline water, couscous, overpriced couscous sandwiches, that's going to make them levitate and fly and open up the third eye opening, all this other crap. They will waste money on that instead of just buying a ticket and going to Africa. So that, and again, the stereotypes. So
let's talk about the stereotypes because certainly I had some perceived ones before I went there. Some of them were true, some of them were not. What are some of the negative stereotypes that are negative in your opinions about Africa from a perspective of an African American who's never been to Africa?
I think we can start off with the people claiming that Africans don't like African Americans, which is false. We can also start off with just the most ignorant stereotypes, as far as, lions and tigers are going to eat you the minute you leave the airport or at the airport. You might catch Ebola or malaria. Those stereotypes right there, even though people claim to be so smart and educated, they would leverage those stereotypes and use them as excuses to not go to Africa. So those are the most common stereotypes and questions that I get as far as, safety, but you live in Southside Chicago, but you swear some Africans gonna rob you, and then just this thing about just lions, tigers, and wildlife eating you, and Ebola and malaria. Of course, alleged Africans hate African Americans in Africa. I'm like, no, that's not true. I mean, it's like they will use that stereotype or that excuse as an excuse to not go to Africa. But then I did a video on this. They will jump and crawl and fight to go to the freaking Puerto Rican Day Parade or Dominican Day Parade, where you have jet black Dominicans and Puerto Ricans who will look you in the eye and say, I am not black, I am Dominican because I do not want to be Black Americans. I don't fuck with y'all. But they will scratch and crawl in the name of just trying to get some Dominican pussy and go to these events, knowing that the mentality of a lot of Dominicans, especially here in America, is that they don't fuck with you more than so-called Africans not fucking with Black Americans. So, that's what they're using.
That's a very great point about the Dominicans and the Puerto Ricans. But let's talk about your influence, because obviously you have your own career. You don't really YouTube for money, but you've dedicated at least a big part of your life as an African American. Now, keep in mind, you don't really, and I know this might be controversial what I'm about to say, as an African American, technically raised in the Western world, you don't really owe the continent anything, but you are educating people. You've influenced somebody like myself, who had a great disdain. If you listen to some of my earlier videos, I had a great disdain for some Africans in some African countries. Now, I studied it, post-colonialism, and I criticized, in particular, Nigerian people and some Africans in America. And I was very much so on tribalistic nature. I did not view myself as a person who was close to being Pan-African. I never thought I would. I thought I was a person that would just really consider about African Americans, and then other African groups should take control of each other and let the individual groups help themselves instead of looking at us as one big continent of people. But I can say that I have actually changed a lot of my viewpoints by listening to your channel and just discussing with you on a personal level. How does it feel that you helped somebody like me, who was a pretty popular Black YouTuber, even when me and you started conversing, to see where I have come now in my experience about understanding Africa from when you first started talking to me about this?
No, I'm happy that you took that step and actually invested in a ticket and saw for yourself. I mean, that's the issue. And me and you talked about this before. Like, Black people, we have an issue of a problem with not researching for ourselves and taking what's presented to us on TV as fact. You know, we have a problem, and we don't want to put in the work as far as building our own platforms, and instead using you know, what other platforms say about us and using that as fact. So I'm just happy that you went. And then I get emails all the time about people saying, "Damn, Dynast, you know, you motivated me to want to go to Africa, man. I'm gonna get a ticket. I'm gonna go next month, or I'm gonna go next year, or I'm definitely going." So I'm just happy that I'm getting Black people to think outside the box. I mean, it's weird. Like, if you're a Black American and you travel to Africa, that's considered radical for some odd reason, even though that's where, at the end of the day, is where you come from. So I'm just happy that, you know, I'm starting to get Black people to wake up and actually take a visit over there, and then you can actually judge for yourself instead of just going off what third parties say that do not have our best interests at heart.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Let's talk about the Africans don't like African American stigma, because we know there's never been any physical altercations that I know between Africans and African Americans, but certainly in many cases there's no love lost between the two groups. It could be. I think both groups are still at the bottom of the barrel in terms of comparison to maybe Asians or Jews or white people. But how do you think the beef between, you know, most notably like Nigerians and African Americans have shaped what African Americans think about Africans in America?
And see, that's the thing. I have no beef with Nigerians. Like, me personally, I mean, I know a lot. I'm real close with a lot of Nigerians. Mm-hmm. I just think it's more of my personal opinion, a lot of Black Americans somewhat look down on Africans and African culture. And then Africans are like, "You stupid idiot, this is where you come from." I think that's where the disconnect is from. It's like, "You idiot, this is where you come from." But at the same time, other demographics of people who look down on Black Americans, you go and run to them. You know, whether it be Chinese, Indians, Dominicans, or whatnot. I mean, everybody, as somebody said in the chat room, no one likes Black Americans as a whole. That you're mad at Africans, but you're not mad at everybody else. You go run and you want to go be a part of everybody else's culture that doesn't like you, mm-hmm. but you want to use that same excuse to justify not liking Africans, when Africans really don't do shit to you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The time when I speak to Africans in America, it's like, "Damn, Dynast, we love you because you're connected to your culture, because it's your culture." But these other Black Americans, it's like they're ashamed of it, because at the end of the day, it's where you come from. So I think that's what the issue is.
That's a very good answer. It's a very good answer. Let me talk about this. Shout out to my man Blackiest Night. I want to share just a little bit of my experience, because, and also Blackest Night was also instrumental because he's a Nigerian living in London. Actually, not living in London, but also living in Atlanta, but he's a UK citizen also. Going to Africa and seeing it for myself after watching your videos and listening to you talk about it and Junk Kyle video talking about it, I can say that many Africans, when you go there, they don't even know what an African American is. Now, at least I can say that in East Africa. I'm not sure about Senegal or Nigerian. Like, they understand that the British eventually ended up in the United States of America. And the United States of America, they took some black slaves to America.
Yes.
That they know that much. But when they see you or when they see me, they don't think, oh, you're an African American. They don't know what that means. They think that, oh, you're African American. Maybe you're a Nigerian that moved to America. Maybe you're Ugandan that moved to. They really don't know that you are Black American. Unless you explain it to them what happened, then they can say, okay, all right, now I understand that you were a Black person that's been living in America for 400 years, your ancestors, you've never even been to Africa. They don't even know. Right. And that's what I found out. I thought that they would know. Oh, African American? Oh, shit. You know, they didn't know. They don't know.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me get my charger for my
okay.
My computer.
Hey, Black man, you got to jump in on this too. But that's the one thing that, I mean, a lot of Black Americans, we're like so now they know, like, people like LeBron James is African American. They know people like Jay-Z is an African American. They know like Will Smith is an African American, but they don't know by just talking to you. They know that you're not from there, but they don't know where you're from. They can assume you're from America. They can assume you're from South Africa. You know, but they don't know necessarily that, oh, you're an African American. They don't know. Exactly. They only know certain people. Like Michael Jackson's African American. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. Yeah, but I tell people this story. Whenever I go to Africa, they think I'm either Nigerian or from South Africa, number one. Real, but see, even before I get to that point, they think that I'm one of them until I open my mouth. They just think I'm coming back home to visit from college. Like, even with all the tattoos and stuff, they think I'm from there. Mm-hmm. And I tell people this story that when I first went to Namibia and I was with the Himba tribe, like, they were telling my guy, like, we know this kid, this is so-and-so's son, and he just went away from school and he came back to visit. And my guide had to explain to them, like, no, he's from America and he's coming here. He's a release from America. And they were like, no. That's so-and-so's son. We know him. He grew up here and he went to school and now he's back. So that's the thing. They don't know what you are until you open your mouth and you tell them. Because at first it's going to be you're Ugandan. Then it's going to be what you tell them, like, you're not Ugandan. It's like, okay, you're from South Africa or Nigeria. And then you got to explain to them, now, look, no, I'm a Black American. It's like, oh, okay. So, yeah, that's the thing. Like, they don't know, like, you're African American from the time they see you.
Right.
And then also, too, as far as slavery, you know, slavery's not really taught in Africa like that. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just kind of like, hey, some of our brothers were kidnapped and brought to America. And that's kind of it. They really don't teach slavery in Africa. So I was in Dogon country, and, you know, my guy was explaining to one of the Hogan, who's the chief of each Dogon village, you know, that he was explaining to him that he came from America, that I came from America. And they were like, yeah, well, we heard this story about some of our brothers being kidnapped and shipped to the other world. And that was it. Like, they really don't speak on the slave trade, really.
And that's a very good point. And Mr. Black will probably join us here shortly, but that's a good point. They don't really talk about it. Now, the Ugandan people in East Africa, they were involved in the slave trade, but with like the Arabs, but they don't really know about the slave trade. In fact, Polish people know more about the West African slave trade than, like, they know what African American is, more so than most Africans, because like I said, when you go over there, you're gonna, not only people gonna think you're one of them, you're gonna see people that look just like somebody you know back home. It never fucking amazes me. I see people in chicks. When I was there, I would not have known that they were not black. Or that they were not, there was no way, like you will see Ugandan people or African people, they're gonna look like somebody you know, your uncle, your auntie. You know, it's just amazing how these people look just like people back home.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that was very true.
Well, welcome Black Men Taking Our Community Back. He's jumped in. He's no stranger to the trifecta of this podcast.
Hey,
brother?
Sure.
Let me ask you this. Did you ask anybody from Uganda their opinion on Idi Amin at all?
I did.
What did they say? That's that. What did they say?
If you asked me to say that, I'll just do a video on it. I will say that and I will go to. So I asked, well, this is about to be controversial. Many of the merchants that are there are Indian.
Of course,
okay?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you mention Idi Amin amongst any Indian or Pakistani person, it is almost like they have seen Jesus, a ghost. You say Idi Amin's coming back, they still believe in him as if he is like the devil.
Right.
To those people, they will hate Idi Amin. Their kids will hate Idi Amin. I think that the message between people don't hate Idi Amin in Uganda like I thought. I think what people think that Idi Amin had a good idea, but unfortunately, Idi Amin was not a very bright person, so he left the country in shambles. And the reason why is because there were no people that could actually run those businesses. They knew how to run those businesses like the Indians did and stuff like that. But a lot of people really cherish Idi Amin for trying to restore order to the Ugandan people. They have a really good appreciation for the people that I've talked to, at least.
Right. And then those are the black people.
Those are the black people. But the Indian people,
that's the black people. The Ugandans I met, the black Ugandans, they love Idi Amin.
Oh yeah. That's what I get too. Let me ask, because obviously Mr. Black, he's joined us. He's been to Nigeria. When you were in Nigeria, Mr. Black, could they tell where you were from?
Sometimes, man. Like I was thinking about what you said. I remember when I went to the club one time, man, and they refused to believe. They thought that I was trying to act like an American. Like they were like they wouldn't want. They didn't want to let me in the VIP because they were like, look at this guy. This guy is trying to act like he's American. Like, you know what I mean? Like, seriously, like it was a big deal. And the dude was hot, like, and like all of my other homies, they were going in because one of them was half Japanese and half white. No, actually he's half Japanese and half Mexican, but his dad was basically white. He was just born in Mexico. I don't know how that worked out. But anyways, and then my other homeboy, he was actually half Nigerian and half like Dutch or something like that. So that they let them in, you know what I mean? And but with me, it was more like, man, you trying to act like you American, you know what I mean? They thought I was Yoruba. So so that was the deal. I actually had to break out my Texas driver's license, man, just to show them, man, nah, this is legit. And when I think back, I'm like, that was probably the dumbest thing I probably could have done, showing my ID like that, you know what I mean? But it worked. It's just like massive respect, like massive respect. My bad, I'm sorry, and like it was crazy. But yeah, man, I was a lot of people, man, because like you said, man, it was a lot of, I guess because we only see certain tribes here in America that we, you automatically think that Africans look a certain way. But when you go out there, man, you see all different kind of tribes, you see all different kinds of black people, man. And and not just dark-skinned black folk, but the whole spectrum. It's the weirdest thing. You just see all kinds of black people that look just like black people from where you're from. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Let me talk to Dynast about this because you mentioned that there was a guy who was half black, half Dutch. He got in the club, but you had problems because you looked more black. Now, Dynast, I'm gonna get your opinion on this, and I'm gonna share mine. What I saw in Uganda. Do you notice that light-skinned blacks are more, what do you call it? Mulatto-looking blacks get more special treatment in Senegal that you saw when you were there than other dark blacks or regular blacks like me and you?
I'll be honest, I didn't see a lot of mulattoes in Africa. It was either white or black. Like, I didn't see a lot of mixed race people or interact with a lot of mixed race people when I went to Africa. It's weird. I really didn't see it. So
what about whites?
I was, well, okay. So white people, yeah, they got preferred treatment. But once people knew I was a Black American, I was treated even better than the white people. So I did notice that or experience that I was treated better than the white people once they found out I was a Black American, and then my reasons for coming back to Africa was to learn about my roots. So they were like, oh yeah, let this guy take care of this guy.
I can agree with that too. I didn't see a lot of preferential treatment towards them as well. Like it was like I think that, see, the difference with him was he was Nigerian, so he like for me, their issue with me was that I was trying to act like I was American. Like when you understand what I'm saying? So that was their beef with me. It wasn't like, because he is Nigerian. He speaks the languages. You know, he's full fledged. But with me, it was just like, nah, dude. Like, you trying to front. You know what I mean? Like, and I guess it just pissed them off.
Okay, give me like 2 minutes. I'll be right back in 2 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but I didn't see a lot of like, I guess like the colorism that you see like with Black people here. I didn't see that, and I saw a lot of mulattoes out there, man. It was just like it was nothing, man. From what I saw, it's not like in the States.
I gotta kind of talk about this because a lot of times you go to Africa, and if you guys are in the chat, get the likes up. Shout out to Dr. Perry Stanislaw in the building. Whenever I see him, I like to recognize him. Get the likes up on the video. This is what I saw as a fly on the wall. When I went into, because my first trip to Africa, I didn't go into any villages per se. Now, Kampala Central Region does have places where it does look very rural. In fact, if you have been anywhere in the rural South, Louisiana, there's a home where my grandmother owned the old plantation where the slaves used to live. It looks very similar. So if you ever seen like old slave movies in Mississippi, or you've been to that, if you're in the South, it's a big correlation between what you'll see in everyday Uganda in the city. Now, when you get to more of your developed parts like Kololo and Muyanga and Kabalaga, you will see a lot. And I was surprised to see this. You will see a lot of more your unattractive white women from NGOs and United Nations, and you'll see white Jews who own restaurants, and you will see a lot of mixed kids. Now, I will see this in the more well-to-do areas. I did notice that Ugandan people have a preference for white people. I also noticed that there is a big preference towards those people who are mulatto. That is what I not only what I've heard, that's what I saw. A lot of people, I saw a lot of Ugandan older white men with younger Ugandan women, and you can just see the glare on their face as they're with a white man at dinner. I mean, you probably would know, like, a white guy that age, there's no way he's going to be getting with a fine Black chick for the most part. But in Uganda, these chicks, are really, 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 really excited to be around white people. White people are definitely the power structure in many of the more developed parts. They're even more loved than Indians, because the Indians are shop workers. But when we go to the restaurants and you go into, like I said, Kololo and Muyanga, the expat bars are for white people. There's the Irish pub and stuff like that. So what I did notice is that even if you are African American, this is just me, my experience, I still think that even after you've explained that you're a Black American, now some chicks may, but I still think that Ugandan people have a great affinity for whites. I'm gonna tell you why I know this. I was at the Ugandan Martyrs Museum, which is a Catholic museum that's there in Kampala, and there was a picture that's in the church that was started in 1935, where a Ugandan artist drew white Jesus and among several Black angels surrounding the cross. And this is still displayed in that church to this day. I saw people praying to that particular picture. Really the supremacy, if you want to call it white supremacy, you get to see it. It's real. There's a very great respect for white people. I can tell you for a fact in Uganda, big respect.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, and to be honest with you, like what Dynast Amir was saying, I did see white people get respect there. Like I saw white people get a lot of respect, but I kind of attributed at that time more so to them having a lot of respect for, I guess, Britain, because there was a lot of British whites there in Nigeria when I went. Like most of the whites there were from Britain. I didn't see too many American whites, but I guess it was just more so of a high respect for just Western culture there in general. Like, I mean, like you go to the clubs and then like they play like country music. Like it was the weirdest thing. Like they play music that, like, 'cause I guess when you're from here, you go to like an all Black club, it's like you expect to hear certain kinds of music. And it's like you go there and like they would play like just the full spectrum. They play, of course they played a lot of African music, but they played like pop, white pop music, white popish country music. It was weird, man. Like it was just no bounds on the things that they played. And also but it was a high respect, because in the VIP, it was a lot of, like, put it like this, all of the white people at the club was in the VIP, all of them. And it was a lot of Africans in the VIP as well. But I would say that all of the white people were in that VIP that was at that club. And I guess, I don't know if that was just a money thing or just a respect thing. I don't know, but they definitely were in the VIP.
Let me say this also, and shout out to Perry Stanislaw. Uganda is actually very influenced by Jamaican music. Shout out to you, Hayden. I want to say this though. Once people, and I'm not saying, that you shouldn't go to Africa because of how maybe Ugandans may see whites. You got to understand Uganda was colonized by Britain. So just like Nigeria, you will see a lot of British whites there. They drive on the right side of the road. I think that a lot of Black people in Uganda still, when Barack Obama was nominated for U.S. president, from what I was told, a lot of people in Uganda were very excited about that. They were very happy. Now, even though Barack Obama is half white, half Black, Ugandan people still do want to see people who are like them do good. Many people, when they found out I was from America, they asked me a lot of questions. They asked me what kind of business that I was in. They asked me, how to get to America. What are some of the things that, it was a very influential conversation. So a lot of the Ugandan people, I really feel that they do have a lot of respect for Black people. If you are hardworking, they can relate more to you. And I really do think that, I wouldn't use it as a reason not to go. I really believe that the Ugandan people and most people in Africa, if they see a Black person doing well, it does inspire them. It does, they see you as an example to do well. So I will give them that much credit. You have to understand that the whites, who come to Africa have been having the power structure for a long time. So you automatically assume, well, these people who are always doing well and have all of this, education and stuff like that, they must be better than us, especially when you're only making $75, $100 a month. And I'll talk more about that. But I would not still, not use it as a reason to go to Africa. I would still say that you should. What about this, Mr. Black? I want. There's been a big argument about mulatto people being considered Black. Actually, I watched the old Tommy Sotomayor video, 2015. It's probably one of the best videos I've ever seen from him, and it's about how white people value their race more than Blacks. Do you think that mulatto people, mixed people who are white and Black, should they be considered Black or African?
I believe they should be considered mixed. You know what I mean? That, you know, I've always stuck to that. Like now, you know, and it's problematic, man, because you know, I understand that a lot of them, you know, before I'd say like before like the 1980s, man, it was like if you were mulatto, you were automatically Black. But now I think that you know, it'll be different now because mulattoes will probably be more so considered mixed. You know what I mean? And I think that is appropriate. Like, why would you, you know, just completely diminish one side of who you are, no matter which side it is? You know, I think that's inappropriate. But the only problem that I see with it is, man, is that I do honestly feel like Black people, man, in America, like if we were to close the border, I did a video on this, man, too. Is if they wanted to commit genocide on Black people, man, they could with just interracial dating, man. I'm telling you. I think I'm just being honest, man. Like, and it's not that they'll commit it to where it'd be no brown people. Of course, it'll always be Black people. But what I'm saying is, what I'm noticing in the trends, man, is that you know, the best and brightest, man, are starting to procreate outside of the race, and you know, eventually, you know, that will lead to like another kind of hierarchy where the higher IQ Blacks are going to be mixed or white, and the lower IQ Blacks are just going to get worse. You know what I mean? Kind of similar to what they see in Brazil. And I fear that, man. I really, really do. I really do. Not to say that I'm against people dating interracially. I'm not against that, but I'm just against it being propagandized as the new it thing. Because that right there will lead to not again, like it won't be any Black people that look like you or me or Dynast Amir anymore. I'm just keeping it real. Like we'll look like, you know, something different. You know what I mean? And I want to live in a world where I continue to see Black people that look like me without them necessarily having to be imported from other countries. And we never know how long the importation of people from other countries will, you know, be allowed. You never know. So, you know, I just think we just need to kind of, you know, slow down, pump the brakes on that whole thing in general.
Let me ask Dynast, because I don't think he heard the question because he was out of the room. Dynast, you're a Pan-Africanism, and shout out to my man, Anthony Brian Logan. ABL in the house. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Forgot that. Happy Father's Day to you, brothers out there who have kids. Dynast, as a Pan-Africanist, person who's visited almost 10 African countries, you've seen Black people of different cultures and different languages and different religions. Should Black people or mixed mulatto people, should they also be considered a part of the African diaspora or part of the Black race?
No, they're mixed. I mean, you have to understand, America is the only place where a mulatto is considered Black, or where they have this one drop rule. It's only in America, because South Africa you consider colored. You know, everywhere else you're considered mulatto or mixed. So I think it's only America that they have this one drop rule. But my issue with it is why I say they should be considered mixed and not Black is because they can play both sides of the fence. Freaking Drake, who will talk about being half Jewish and, you know, be proud of his Jewish culture, but then all the negative shit he does, he attaches it to his Black side. So it's like they can play both sides of the fence, and so that's what they do. A lot of mulattoes, they'll all the positivity that comes from this person, he'll attribute that to their white side, and then all the negative gangster hood rat, they'll attribute that to their black side. So it just needs to be like, look, you're mulatto, you're not black, you're not white, you're mulatto. So you'll see them like really exploit and disrespect the black side of them or the black culture, but they won't exploit and disrespect the white side of it. So I know a lot of that.
Let me ask you this, because I'm going to take you for a ride. This is probably going to be, I don't know how much longer you guys have, because I think this is going to be a long show, because I got a lot of questions. So if you guys can rock for another 90 minutes or 2 hours, I don't know what you have to do. Are you brothers available for that time period?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good. All right. So I know Dynast, he might have to do some push-ups in that good, you know, African. Okay. So let me ask you this, Dynast. Now, you know, my channel is about black men in particular. So I'm going to ask you a question from a black man. Okay? That's in America. So, all right, Dynast, I'm a black man. I'm concerned about black people. But, you know, I have a hard time dealing with black women in America. Many black women are not cooperative. I don't have the money like Mr. Black does or Dynast, Amir. I can't afford to go to multiple countries. But the women that I find that are more lenient with me, you know, I want to keep the black race going, but the women who are cooperating with me are white women. Now, I know that if I'm creating a mixed child, and if that child is considered black, that child automatically is going to be looked at as better than other black people. That child is going to probably get more privilege than other black people, will have better features than other black people. But not, you know, Dynast, I don't want to really create mixed babies, but black women are just not cooperate with me. And a lot of brothers have this same issue where they want to deal with black women. They want to have black families, but a lot of black women are not, you know, giving them the cooperation that they would need to do that. So how does a black man keep the black race going when dealing with a group of women who a lot of brothers say are not cooperative?
I mean, just me personally, it's number one, where are you finding these women?
Hello.
And then the thing is, like, it's just like with black, like I lived in LA for 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Black men and black women will date bottom of the barrel black people and then try to leverage that as an excuse to date outside of the race. So it's like, oh,
say that again. I want you to say that one more time.
Okay. Living in LA for 6 years, black people will date the bottom of the barrel, other black people, the bottom of the barrel, and then leverage that as an excuse to date outside of the race. Mm-hmm. And then what will happen, especially with black women in LA, they will date bottom of the barrel white dudes, mm-hmm. and they will continue to give them a shot or a chance and will not hold them to the same standard like they did the bottom of the barrel black guy. So so-called the black women, will say Keisha, she'll date bottom of the barrel white Dan from Orange County, mm-hmm. bottom of the barrel white Ken from Malibu, then get passed from bottom of the barrel white Joe from Hollywood Hills, and just get passed around in a circle. But she will use that passing around well because I dated this one bottom of the barrel black guy. You know, so that's what it is. They just date bums, an excuse to go date outside of the race. I'm like, look, you dated a fucking bum. So that's what I witnessed.
Let me ask Mr. Black the same question.
Yeah, I do agree with that too, to a certain degree, and also at the same time, you have to take into consideration the fact that most whites or most other, just any race in general, they come from more intact families. So mm-hmm. we have to look at that component as well, because and when you come from an intact family or you come from a good home environment, And if you come and if it's a higher number of intact families, then you're going to have a higher percentage, you know, of people that you would run into from that particular group that will be as I would consider wholly functional, like in or prime dating material. So I think that component probably plays a factor in it as well, because, you know, when you date the average Black person, most are gonna come from a family that is broken. Most are gonna come from a situation where it wasn't necessarily the ideal family situation. Now, and then when you date somebody from another race, no matter what race that may be, the likelihood of you meeting somebody who is just a little bit more grounded, a little bit more catering, a little bit more, you know, loving, from that perspective is higher. That's a fact. And it creates that dilemma to where you would, you know, perceive, okay, well, this woman treats me better, or this man treats me better. But the reality of it is just, we just have to, just one of those things we just have to fix. We have to be a part of the change that changes that dynamic with our children. And, you know, and I guess I'm a believer in self-sacrifice to a certain degree, for the overall good. I am a true believer in that. And I believe that if enough Black people were to think that way, we'd have communities just the same way as other groups. But the only difference is other groups, you have more people that are willing to self-sacrifice. It's more men that are willing to say, hey, I'm just going to make sure that I provide the best for my children, and make sure I raise them the best way that I possibly can. And when you have people that come from families like that, you're going to just have a more, you know, stable-minded, you know, well-rounded people. It's just the way it is. But also, I saw in the chat, man, there was a guy that was saying that Black people have dominant genes, and I'm tired of Black people saying that, because I think his name was Mixwell. And the thing about it is, man, have you seen a lot of these biracials babies with white people? Like, a lot of them are phenotypically indistinguishably white. So it's like this.
And not to cut you off, take a Google search Muhammad Ali's grandkids.
Yeah, I've seen them. Look at Soledad O'Brien's kids. Like, these kids, you couldn't tell. Like, you sit them in a lineup, you couldn't tell what they were. I mean, you couldn't tell they were ever Black. They look 100% white. You know, and it's like, Black people need to stop saying that, and that's what I think is getting us in a lot of trouble. And I think if we continue to think that, man, it won't be any Black people that look like O'Shea or myself or Dynast. I'm telling you, this is real.
I got into a dusty debate with a Black woman over that one time. As far
as you say, dusty debate.
Yeah, I mean, as far as dominant, and I'm like, look, I mean, if you take a look at Muhammad Ali's grandkids. They look white. They don't look like a Black dominant gene, you know, came across them. They look like white kids.
Yeah, and like the dude said, yeah, they do. Yeah, Black people we already 15 to 25% white European anyways. Most African American descendants of slaves. This is fact. We are 15. Yeah. I'm talking about even the blackest of the Black American. We're on average about 15 to 25% European. So when you mix, you know, with a white person, man, that, you know, it's a high likelihood that child will probably be more European. And especially if you do it twice. If you do 2 generations of it, man, like I have homeboys, man, that are mixed. But well, I have a couple homeboys that are actually Black, but they're, you know, because, you know, I'm in Texas, so we have a lot of like Creole people, where you know, they were basically mulattoes who just kind of, you know, and man, I'm telling you, they have kids, and you can't tell that child is even remotely Black. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm like, man, where are Black people getting this dominant gene crap from? Like, where's that coming from?
I mean, marry who you love. You know, that's the thing. You know, I'm not against interracial relationships at all.
Yeah, me neither.
That's you love, to go for it. Like, I think there needs to be a line drawn in the sand. Like, look, if you're Black, and you marry and have a kid with anybody that's non-black, that kid is mixed. That kid is mulatto. That kid is not black. But again, marry whoever you want. So.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel the same way. I'm not against it. I don't like it being propagandized as something that is the thing to do. I don't like that because from my perspective, I feel like it will lead to like where the higher IQ blacks will just probably just date out, and it'll create what I consider like a brain drain to whites to where the lighter the skin, the higher the IQ, which is already similar. Like it's already kind of like that, but it's like if you propagandize something like that, I think it'll probably even further that gap. That's just what I believe.
Let me do this because you make a good point, man. First of all, I want to talk about the builders of the black community interracially dating. But before I do that, let me say this. And this is how I felt when I made my first podcast on YouTube. This is how I feel right now. And there are people that that I love, that they're in interracial relationships. I feel, and I feel this the way I die, you cannot be for the black community having babies with non-black people. I just don't think that you're that down with it. Now I know that's just my opinion of it. So much that's my opinion that I was living in Poland. I imported a black woman to Poland. I'm gonna say that again. I was living in Poland, and Poland got some. If you lived in Poland, got some fine ass white women. I have some of the sweetest, most attractive women that you can find are here in Poland. But I could not get on this YouTube channel and talk about the black community and disparage the black community and be dealing with a white woman, or married to a white, or engaged to a non-black woman. I believe that is complete fuckery. Now, there's some YouTubers out there who engage in that shit. I mean, I don't have no problem with it. There's other YouTubers who are married to non-black people, and they want to give their points of view on the shit. But I mean, don't expect those people to take you serious. If you are a person that says you love the black community, you want to have a voice in the black community, but your kids are not black, and you are dealing with a woman who is not black, I don't want to hear that shit. I don't think anybody should fucking take you serious. I just don't. You know what I mean? And another thing, I want to say this. Now, I want to bring this also to pass. A lot of pro-black people who vacationing in France, vacationing in London.
Yeah, I get on that all the time.
Vacationing in Berlin, certain places and things of this nature. I don't think there's anything wrong with those places. But you know, if you've never been, and I'm just saying this, if you've never been to Africa or support people that have been there and trying to go, I'm telling you, you're missing out. It is imperative of any black person under the sound of my voice. If you really want to see, black people do well, you got to take, your money and your resources and do business with black people or black countries. There's no way of getting around it. You know what I mean? That means if Dynast has a product, and if it's a product I can afford and I can buy from, I'm going to buy from him, even if it costs more money than maybe even a white person, because I know that Dynast has a black wife, possibly has a black child. Same thing with Mr. Black. That's the kind of thinking that black people have to be on. You can't just talk about it. You got to be about it. There's a lot of people out here who are not practicing what they're preaching. They're just running their fucking mouth. You know what I'm saying? I just had to really go on that rant because I think it's real irritable for a lot of black people to be in the public scheme. You're talking about the black community, but at the same time, you're dealing with a person that's non-black. Now, I understand it could get hard. Now, I understand a lot of brothers why they do that. We're going to talk about that right now. But I think a lot of brothers have not really listened to or had somebody like Dynast Amir And even this, I gotta say this, Jerk Powell video. This is so funny. Jerk Powell video is a white man. I gotta give him big kudos. This is the only white dude that is in the black YouTube sector telling black men, why are you not going to Africa? I mean, that's how sad this shit is. But besides Dynast, it took a white man, and this is sad, to come and tell brothers, you should go to Africa because fuck it, I got me a black wife, why don't you? It's a white man telling us this shit. And Dynast. And, I just really want to say before I get off this tangent and this rant, if you cannot make it with a black woman in America, I still don't think that if you're really concerned about black women and you really want to be able to help in the black community going forward, if you have babies with an Asian woman or if you have babies with the Russian woman, I've talked to people personally, man, where if that dad breaks up with that mom, which typically will happen, that baby is phenotypically bad. But that baby is going to be raised as an Asian or as a white person. That's how they don't look at things. Like I see mixed Polish chicks all the time. Not all the time, but there have been times I see mixed Polish women who are like, the dad is black. They speak Polish, they don't speak English. They don't consider themselves to be a part of diaspora. They don't. And I think when black men, you have babies with white women and Mexican women or something like that, and you don't stay with those women, what you create is a black child that don't even end up with a black person. That's just my opinion. I know it's controversial, but let's talk about the builders of the black community being gone. I'll start with you, Dynast. We have a lot of our best brothers who are doing what Mr. Black has said, which is they're leaving the black community for other races of women, for fear of not being accepted. A lot of the builders in the black community have checked out of the building. They're tired of dealing with this shit. Our smartest and our brightest people, they're with Becky. They're with Leanne. What's your take on the best of black men, the best of the builders who could really help the black diaspora move forward? And this is not only in America. This is even with Africans too that come to, they come to London, they come to Denmark, medical doctors, they get married to white women too. What's your perspective of this?
Dude, you know what? A buddy of mine in Senegal said, I asked about one of his friends who was a Senegalese black woman, and she was hooking up with, in fact, they were from Denmark, white men from Denmark. And they ran through her, they played her. And he said this. He said that black women or African women find white men and think they found heaven. So, and that can be also applied to black men. It's just they think they've got a white woman, they've made it. Like, I got a white woman now, there's no racism. Look, I got a white woman, I've made it. I have finally arrived. I am not a successful black man until I have a white woman. That's how a lot of them think. So that's really what it is. Because I mean, there is too many, in my honest opinion, there are just way too many quality black women out there to think or to put out this, I think, misinformation that there aren't. Mm-hmm. There's way too many. So again, I think it's just this idea that I got a white woman, I have now made it, mm-hmm. and I don't see color, there's no racism, I'm in these white circles because I have a white wife. My white wife, we live in this exclusive white club neighborhood. I'm part of the golf course tennis club community with my white wife, so I've made it. That's what it is.
Well, let's talk about this, Mr. Black, because he makes some great points. I know you are definitely a builder of the black community. I think me and you share very similar interests, although my views have changed a little bit on certain things. I look at us as potential builders of the black community. We both have this concern. Our brightest, as far as when I'm looking at builders of the black community, I automatically exclude women. I'm talking about black men now.
Yeah.
Our brightest black men are, 90% of them are black men. 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 90% of them are black have exited are exiting the building.
Yeah.
Our best and our brightest men in other societies, these people, and I'm talking about black men of all diasporas, Ugandan black men, you have black men from Ghana, black men. These black men are now exiting the building for non-black women. What dangers are we seeing as a result?
I think we're just going to create more of a brain drain, but it'll just be a brain drain where the higher IQ blacks are just going to they're going to outsource, and then once that happens, the kids are going to be superior to the regular blacks, and, you know, and it just creates it creates a very problematic situation. And like I said, I'm not necessarily just against interracial dating. I'm not. That's not me. But I think that but like I say, I don't like the idea of it being propagandized as the it thing to do. If that's something that you want to do, then do it. Okay, whatever, you know. But I don't like the idea of people promoting it, like the swirling stuff. I don't like that. You know what I mean? Because for one, you know, we do need black men to create a society for black people that will be conducive to functional, stable families, functional, stable environments for black people to be comfortable in. You know, I was talking to my girl about the dilemma, because she was saying that, you know, where are we going to be able to raise our kids? Like, we would have to raise our kids around white people if we want them to have access to some of the best schools.
Oh, stop. Say it again.
She said we'd have to raise our kids around white schools if we want, you know, if we want to have, you know, the best schools, you know. So and the thing about it is, but she's like, you know, I don't want them to, you know, see that and then come home with a white woman, you know what I mean? Because that's what they're going to relate to. And yeah, that's what I'm saying. And so that's the dilemma that we find ourselves in. And a lot of that is because black people have checked out of creating for ourselves. And that's why the whole, you know, that's the whole reason why me and Obsidian fell out to a certain degree. I mean, you know, he's still cool. I still respect his mind. You know, he brings up the stuff that he's about. You know, he brings up some solid points on. But the issue is that, you know, black men feeling like they get to check out. That's why I really liked the video that you did before when you came back, and Africa gave that same profound effect on me as well, where it let me know that I am black no matter where I go. You can't escape this. So if you know, all of the failures of black people will be attributed to you, no matter how you try to assuage any level of responsibility for it. It's never going to go away. So I think that it's incumbent on black people to recognize the fact that we have to create our own destiny. And if we don't create one, then what's going to happen is, like, say for instance, my children, with my girl, they're gonna end up dating, you know, Sulin or Becky. There's just no other way around it, because that's what they're gonna, you know, because I got like one of my best friends. He's married to a white woman, and he's very smart, graduated from Rice University, you know, top 10 athlete, was a Olympic candidate for the Olympics, really smart brother. And he grew up around white people all his life, and he married a white woman. And that happened because that's what he was around. He'll talk about, every now and then wanting to be with a black woman, but I mean, he's never really had access to it from where he was. So it just is what it is. And some of our best and brightest, that's what happens, man. And as long as we're not creating that legacy of stability and strong communities, we'll never have our own schools. We'll never have black schools where our children can go to and be like, this is one of the best schools in the U.S. Or black neighbor, like you were saying on that video. It's kind of like this. Educated whites strive to be around educated whites and make educated white society better. Educated blacks strive to be around strive to run white people out of their neighborhoods. Like, it's the weirdest thing. Like, if you're white or if you're Asian, you want to be in a heavily populated Asian community that is very, very successful. If you're white, you want to be in a heavily white community where where whites are successful. And if you're black and you're educated, you want to be in the whitest community as possible, of as far away from black people as possible. And I think there's something wrong with that dynamic.
Are you talking about the video I did yesterday about that?
Yeah, you did
Or
a
when I
powerful video. Yeah, when you first got back, I forget if it was yesterday or yesterday before, but it was a powerful video.
Talking about the black people drive the property value down.
Yeah, that one. It was a classic. It was just a lot of classic points, you know.
Let me talk to that before I go back to Dynast, because both you and Dynast have really, you know, when I first came to YouTube, I had some ideas. But certainly talking to Mr. Black in my earlier YouTube career, because I was the first person I was doing hangouts with, and talking to Dynast Amir, who, and if you heard some of my commentary about Nigerians and Africans, it was a lot different than what it is now after actually going and seeing. So I want to thank both of you for helping me in that development. People can change opinions by certain things by meeting different people. Back to the Obsidian thing, because Obsidian was saying, you know, we ought to abandon the black community. Now, here's what I think. The ghetto black communities, you cannot help them.
Yeah,
this is how I feel. But the point that Obsidian says just abandon them and pretty much do nothing. I think that black people of like-minded abilities, you still come together. I always feel that the black community needs to be rebuilt amongst like-minded people. You cannot save savages. You cannot save people who are on the left. You know, I know that, and you can try that. You can try going in there and helping those particular people. The point is that you don't start developing ideas. You don't stop developing schools. And like you said, like Farrakhan, his sons and daughters and shit went to white educated schools. They ended up with white people, you know? And that's what you ought to expect is if you do not build your own stuff, if you do not have your own type of schools, if you don't support and I think one time me and you did a podcast and we raised several $100s for the United Negro College Fund. I don't know if you remember that, but we did.
Yeah, I do.
And I'm actually going to do that again pretty soon, probably for the month of August. I'm going to just tell people to donate to the United Negro College Fund. And the reason why I'm going to tell you to do that is because if you don't support your schools, nigga, who the fuck are going to support your fucking schools? Nobody. Exactly. And this is the thing these niggas got to understand. I'm about to get mad because for Oregon. When you don't support your fucking schools, when you don't support, you know, going to countries or business or author like Dynast Amir, what do you expect should be catered to you? You don't get no fucking respect. You know, nobody respects a group of niggas who, just because you think you're smart and you want to move to a white community, nobody respects your black ass, man. I can tell you that from living in Poland. It doesn't matter that I have some money. It doesn't matter that I'm in medical school. When people see me walk into the fucking mall, I come out with hella shopping bags. You know what's in the day? He's still a nigga. Why is he in our country? Leave. Don't matter about you having and that's what educated black people gotta understand. Nobody wants your black ass around, no matter how smart you are, or we went to Yale or Princeton or Harvard, until you get your own shit. Don't nobody want to fuck with you. Exactly. And you look a goddamn stepchild running over to the white man shit, wearing Asian communities. You like a fucking fool. And I saw this firsthand it's opened my eyes by going to Africa. I look at how stupid a lot of niggas are. Where you could be taking your expertise somewhere else and establishing your own shit. Now the Chinese is over there establishing shit you should be establishing. You're like a fucking asshole. Dynast, help me understand. What are we missing here? Because, you know, obviously you've been more enlightened than I have with this topic. Black people not wanting to build their own schools, not wanting to go to Africa. What are the opportunities that we are missing?
I mean, look at the China. I mean, in fact, I want you to do this. Google the richest people in Africa, like the billionaire list. The majority of it is white and Indian. So you're missing a ton of opportunities, you know. But again, it's just this whole idea that black people cannot be successful in their own communities outside of, I guess, picking up a basketball or football, you know, or a baseball. So I mean, it's a ton of opportunity. See it because we believe everything that we see on TV that tells us that there's no opportunities in the Black community, or no wealth could be built within the Black community. But the Indians, Arabs, Chinese, Koreans come to the Black community, kids for generations. So I mean, I think we've talked about this over and over, but I just think Black people refuse to believe it. Again, like I said, look up the top billionaires, or look at the billionaire list in Africa. The majority of it is white and Indians, or white and Indian. So it's just we don't see it. We think we have to go into I guess a white paradigm to be successful, when we could be successful in a Black paradigm. You know, and then what we do is we go into this white paradigm, and then we start complaining how, you know, especially in the entertainment industry, how they're not treating Black people fair. How, you know, I was looking at an interview on the Breakfast Club between the All Eyes on Me movie, the Tupac movie. And then they were just talking about how they're, you know, how they couldn't get a big budget because they were Black and this, that, and the other. But it's like the amount of Black star power in regards to money, we can have our own studios and produce films with $100 million budgets. The money is there, but we think in order to be successful, you have to have that white stamp of approval, or do it through the white, I guess, paradigm, which is not truly the case. So, you know, that's the issue.
Let me go to your point. The richest man in Uganda is Sudhir Ruparelia, worth $1.2 billion. He was kicked out of the country when Idi Amin expelled the Asians, came back in 1987 with $25,000. And from that time, he's been worth $1.12 billion. Let me talk about this real quick, because there are a lot of opportunities in Africa. I saw them. Let's talk about the way that we do business in America and the way that they do business in Africa. Because I think a lot of African Americans don't understand how Africa does business. And I know you've been to Senegal, Kenya, Namibia, South Africa, but Benin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mali. Where am I missing? I missed another one.
Say Tanzania, Kenya.
Tanzania. Okay. What I notice is, like, what we're doing right now,
right,
with Mr. Black and you, this is online business, right? I get paid from Google. I may get paid off of Patreon. I may get paid off of a donation, just like you. Your business, what you do as online, all of us. Well, I know you have regular jobs, but this is an online way of making money. Right. In Africa, I noticed that 95% of the times, the business is face-to-face cash.
Right.
There's not a lot of internet business going on. No. So let's talk about that. And we'll talk about Mr. Black with his experience in Lagos. Let's talk about the old way of doing business, cash, face-to-face transactions, walking into a store, doing business like this. Let's talk about your experience in Africa in this sort of business transaction.
I think it's just a lot of that to do with infrastructure. Mm-hmm. If you notice in Uganda, like the majority, I would say damn near probably 85 or 90% of the places you went to buy anything. So you have that issue right there. So without having the option to use a debit card, that means you can't accept online payments, meaning you really can't have an online business. Like, for example, these kafetans that come from Senegal that I have that I'm selling on my site. Mm-hmm. Literally, you pay me online, but for me to get the money to my tailor in Senegal, I have to send it Western Union, PayPal. You know, I can't send it Cash App. I have to send it Western Union. That's the only way I can get the money to them. And it's a huge inconvenience because, of course, Western Union charges a fee for me to send it. So it's a lot of it has to do with infrastructure. And then another thing, as far as doing business in Africa, is, and I don't know if you noticed it, they all sell the same shit as far as the Africans do.
Let me stop you right there. They will all sell the same shit right next to each other.
Yeah. They all sell the same shit. But you have to realize the distributor that they get this shit from is probably non-black.
Mm-hmm.
Like in Uganda, the Ugandans were selling all the same shit stacked right next to each other. But I guarantee you, the wholesaler is probably Indian or white. So we have to think bigger, okay, as far as us doing the distribution. As far as, like you said, creating a platform, it's just we don't think big like that. So that's part of the issue as far as doing business in Africa. You know, no online option because no one really accepts debit cards or know how to. Mm-hmm. Distributor is probably not black people. Mm-hmm. Thinking outside the box, like what we're doing right now. They're thinking right now, like how can I eat right now? How can I feed myself right now? Instead of thinking how to feed their family generations to come, like how white people do, how like Indians do, how like Chinese do. It's all about instant gratification. What can I do to get paid right now to feed myself right now? On a small level, making a nickel here, dime here, you know. Then you go in, you gotta freaking damn near badger the price down, you know. So I think that's the issue. Just we doing business on an African level. When you get there, it's really the infrastructure is there to do business on a big level. They don't think so, but it is because Chinese and Indians are coming in and doing business on a huge level. But Africans, so I think that's part of the problem.
Great point. Let me do this one. Shout out to Dr. Perry Stanislaw. He donated £5 British to the Super Chat. Brother writes some powerful, I would say probably the best 2 articles that are ever been written on the Negro Manosphere were the 2 that he wrote. And he's up there with Alan Roger Curry when he wants to write something. In my opinion, Roger Curry is flawless, but this dude is the truth when he writes. He's one of the best writers I've ever seen in my life. Shout out to him. Go ahead, Mr. Black. What were you going to say?
I was just going to ask Dynast Amir, do you think that is more so of an IQ issue with it not being able to delay gratification, or do you think it's a cultural issue there in Africa?
I'm not going to say IQ because that's that whole white supremacy thing that, you know, black people are, I guess, not as intelligent as white people. So I'm not going to say the IQ thing. I just think it's the culture. Honestly, I mean, I don't want to say the culture. I just want to say, here we go. They're not educated. I think it's just lack of education and resources. So I think
let me weigh in on what he said because I'm not a Pan-Africanist yet. I'm definitely kind of leaning towards that. I ain't gonna be out there with no kufi and shit selling motherfucking oils or nothing. But I mean, this is what I will say. If you look at the late 1800s when the British had the Ugandan Protectorate and they were building the Ugandan Railway, simultaneously, many people forget that not only did the British have Ghana, Nigeria, Uganda, they got Tanzania after World War II, but they had, Rhodesia, right? And other places, Zambia. They also had India. A lot of people forget that the British had India. That's a big point, you know. When the British wanted to make a middleman between themselves and the black Africans, the British brought to Uganda trained, bright, educated Indians to run the merchant market. Now, what am I trying to say here? You have dumb fucking Indians in India right now that live probably just like the Ugandan people that I just saw. But the point are worse. But the point is that hand-picked people, if they are trained of any color, can perform like a motherfucker if you put them in this right situation. So when it looks like the Ugandan people are stupid or low IQ, and definitely you can get that appeal if you go there, well, but if you take the best Ugandan people and you put them anywhere, they will perform just like the Indians perform. Now, they will perform like the whites will perform. And that's something that we got to really look at, because I was like, God damn, these are some dumbass people. But at the end of the day, is the reason why Uganda looks like what it is, one of the real reasons is that's how they want it. And you got to understand it. And there's no reason why the Indians that are there are all running everything, and the blacks who have businesses have them in shack businesses that look like outhouses and slavery days. Now, the IQ may be low for certain reasons, but it's not, I think the IQ can be influenced by any kind of training or any kind of knowledge. You know, I think that when we get into terms that one group of people have a greater intellectual capacity than another group of people, and that's based off of race or skin tone. Now, I do believe the IQ exists, but I believe the IQ is influenced by a lot of different things, not just genetics. I mean, yeah, but there are other things that can be attributed. I mean, look at a country like Iran, which has a country that's at 84 average IQ, right? But if you look at Iran, does Poland want to go to war with Iran? No. Does Ukraine, that has an average IQ of 100, would they want to fuck with Iran in the war? Fuck no. Ukraine don't want the US. They don't want
those kind of problems. They don't want those kind of problems.
But the problem is that, you know, it doesn't really matter what the average IQ is. What matters is who's at the top. And everybody in each country has smart motherfuckers of 140, 150, at the top. Everybody has that. And I think that what we need to understand is that Ugandan people, for corruption or lack of a better word, their people who should be at the top are not there, or if they are there, they're very corrupt. I do notice about blacks everywhere. Black people are very selfish. I will say that. This is what we got. Do you agree, Dynast?
Yeah, absolutely.
Black people are very
self-sacrificing. We're not as self-sacrificing as
that's our biggest
by far.
Very selfish. Even in the driving in Kampala, I don't want to take up too much time, but you will see white people. Let me give you an example of what I mean. When I flew into Entebbe Airport, one of the first things I wanted to do was to go to the Forex, which is what most people do. You know, you don't get it the best rate, you don't get it at the Forex, but you exchange some money so you can go into town and exchange more money. That's what we do, right? When you come to Poland or Austria and the European Union, there is one Forex operated by the same people. But when you go to Uganda, you have 3 people who are competing for your business, right? Which is stupid. It should be, I should be able to go to either one of you and do business, but these 3 people are competing against each other for an exchange, which is completely insane. When you go to Poland or come back from Poland and you want to get, or Budapest or Hungary, you want to get a taxi cab, there is a line of people who are willing to take you. Now, this cab goes first. He takes this person. Then Dynast goes. Then Black man, Mr. Black goes. But in Uganda, when you get there, you will have 50 or 60 niggas. Hey, cab, come here. No, come here. No, come here.
Yeah.
Is that the same way in Senegal?
Yeah, I mean, basically. So how it is in Senegal, and pretty much every African country outside of South Africa, because South Africa is pretty much America, and Kenya as well. Kenya wasn't this disorganized. In fact, Kenya was very organized as far as what you're talking about. You get off the plane, you go through passport control or passport control, whatnot. You get your bags, and like literally, the minute you step outside, there's SIM cards, cab, you need to exchange money, and they just all rush you. In Kenya and in South Africa, it wasn't that.
Have you been to Gabon?
I have not, but I'm going to Gabon next year.
Yeah, I heard that they're pretty organized too. Like the president Ali Bongo Amdiba, I think his name is. I heard that they're really organized too, but I don't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry about that.
No, it's cool. But yeah, but it's pretty much like that, O'Shea. Every country I've been to in Africa, where it's just they hit you, which, like I said, it's SIM cards, taxis, and if you want to exchange money, SIM card. Get my SIM card. Taxi. So that's why, like, wherever I go, I either call a bed and breakfast and communicate with a bread and breakfast ahead of time. If I don't know anybody in that country, like when I went to Benin, months before I came, I reached out to the place I was staying, a small point bed and breakfast. I said, hey, I'll be at the airport. Then I'm gonna need a ride to the bed and breakfast. Meet me there. They will bring somebody to meet you and kind of keep all of that from getting in your way. So that's, but when I first went to Tanzania, I didn't know any better, kind of like you. And that shit just hit me, like, God damn.
Oh, wow.
Damn, I'm trying to get to the hotel. So I literally called my hotel and said, come, can you send a taxi to come pick me up? And that's what I did to get to my hotel. And,
and to Dynast's point too, if you're doing bed and breakfast, I do Airbnb. Have your Airbnb agent or somebody. If you're going to Africa, have somebody to arrange you a driver. So that person will be there waiting on you. And the thing about here is this also, before we get back to Mr. Black, cab drivers in Africa, just like in any other place, they are shady. Not all of them, but obviously, when you get a rate from somebody in Airbnb, they say it's going to cost you 100,000 shillings, which is about almost close to $28. That's a fixed price. If you get into a taxi driver, they'll tell you 100,000 shillings, and when you get there, no, I told you 120,000 shillings. Now you got your shit in the car. Now this happened to me. I actually had an Uber driver. And I thought, Uber is very, the reason why I like Uber is it gives you the rate. They can't go above that rate, right? So if you're in Kampala, use Uber. What happened? This nigga charged my Uber card, say he didn't get it, tried to make me pay cash after nigga, the receipt right here, nigga. They will even try to scam me from Uber. So like you said, if you're going to Africa, like Dynast said, get the cab driver or get the somebody to send you a driver to where you're going, because you will be bum rushed at the airport. I'm gonna talk about boater drivers. Anybody been to Kenya? You know about the motorcycle boater guys?
Yeah.
We gotta talk about that shit too. Mr. Black, what was your experience when you went to Lagos Airport?
It was the exact same way, man. But it was like that even in Jamaica as well, man. Like we went to Jamaica, man. I'm talking about, golly, man. It was crazy. Like mainly because I think we were in like a lot of the tourist spots. But golly, man, they were just like very aggressive, man. The same. But with Nigeria, they didn't have the people that were selling the money like that. You had to go to the beach for that. You had to go over to Victoria Island to get the money exchange. But the problem that I had in Nigeria were the people that was trying to take the bags and get you in the cabs, man. It was vicious, man. Vicious. We already had our ride prearranged, so we didn't even have to deal with that. Luckily. So but yeah, like I noticed the same thing in Nigeria, and I noticed it in Jamaica as well, man.
I mean, at some point, like, here's the thing I want to ask both of you, because we talk about the diaspora, and I don't know, are you guys familiar with Museveni of Uganda? He's been there since
president, right?
Yeah, that's president. He came in, he displaced Milton Obote.
I'm somewhat
familiar with. He's the president. He's educated in Tanzania, but Uganda only had I think three presidents. One was prime ministers. One was Milton Obote, then Idi Amin, then Milton Obote again, then now Museveni. When you want to go to a place and help rebuild Africa, now shout out to Botswana. Botswana is like Namibia. It is clicking on all cylinders. Development like a motherfucker is doing very good. But a place like Gabon, okay, yeah, Gabon. I didn't know that. A place like Uganda, I'm not sure. I mean, I heard Rwanda is doing pretty good now. Kenya is doing a little bit better. When you have all of this congestion in traffic, there's there's no subway. There is no public transportation in the city. There's no infrastructure to make transition smooth with delivering. And I'm also going to talk about the African Union. Should the borders be taken out? I know how you feel about that, Dynast. But when you look at a country like Uganda, and many African countries that don't want to invest in public transportation, doesn't want to invest in efficiency. As Black people, when the government doesn't take an issue, same thing in Liberia, and I mean even before the wars, how can African Americans be influenced by wanting to go there and change their life? Like, we want to help Africa, but the government doesn't want to help their countries. And I mean, to the point of what I've seen in Uganda, and I'll probably be in Liberia by next year. I mean, you can see that it takes what would take me, 1 hour to get from Sacramento, or an hour and a half to get to Sacramento to Oakland. It will take me 7 hours in Africa, in certain places, to get to 90 miles from one part of the country to the next. That's a big fucking problem, So how can Black Americans be so interested in certain countries wanting to help rebuild when the government is not so concerned with helping the country develop and develop and make things more expedient? What do you think, Dynast?
I'll speak on the transportation thing. I didn't have that many issues with the transportation. I had some traffic issues, but it wasn't that bad to your point as far as it taking 7 hours to go 90 kilometers or whatnot. But I just think it's a great opportunity. If the government isn't willing to offer a service, then you come in with that service or program offer and you capitalize on it and make money. So, if you want to talk about transportation, I mean, if you're an Uber driver or create some type of Uber for Africa, app similar to that, you come in with a solution. So if the government isn't offering solutions, then a great opportunity is for you to offer those solutions, and that's a great opportunity. So I think that's where the opportunity lies. That's the opportunity.
Okay. Well, what about you, Mr. Black? Because I want to get into this conversation. What do you think?
I agree. I agree with Dynast. I agree wholeheartedly.
I'm gonna disagree to a certain point. Now, I'm gonna tell you why I'm disagreeing. Now, you can offer. Here's the thing. When I was in Kampala, I took Uber primarily, and I took the Boda. If anybody wants to know what the Boda is, you'll see it in my videos. The Boda is a motorcycle that is small when there's a lot of congestion in traffic. And so what ends up happening is you can get to places a lot cheaper. It's dangerous, obviously. You can fucking die, of course. But you can get to places fast because, motorcycles, they can just zoom in between cars and shit like that. The problem is this. When you have a growing continent like Africa, the population is growing. When the government does not invest in the infrastructure of that country, are moving a congested place, or building another city, like primarily what Nigeria did with what's this now business city now? What is it called? The big city in Nigeria is Abuja.
Lagos, Abuja. Okay.
Abuja, right? They made it their finance place.
Lagos is big. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, the problem that I have is this. When you're in a congested city, the population, like Kampala, is growing massively. Expats, people fucking all kind of shit. You don't have enough street for all of those cars, okay? There needs to be something added, maybe a light rail or a train station or a subway, and to be able to make the processes easier, because the traffic is fucking crazy. What if you're a company, you're delivering goods, you're delivering milk, you're delivering soda. Those times are going to be longer and longer and longer and longer as Kampala and places like that as the years go by, because you have more cars on the roads and there's not any more roads being developed. Okay, you have bad roads, you have people getting flats, people fucking up their cars. It makes it hard for the tow truck to come in. What I'm saying is these countries need to make things more efficient, either by you're going to go to the Chinese or somebody to build a light rail station, subway station, something. This needs to be fucking addressed. It's a big problem. And the fact that many people in Kampala or in Uganda have to ride bodas, the bodas gets into a lot of accidents. There's no regulation on boda drivers. Anybody can just get a motorcycle and get on the fucking boda and say, I'm a boda driver. without even being good at it. You don't know. And see, that's the problem that Africa has. Even if you are Uber, you're on the road with a bunch of congestion, and you can't get to places very quickly. That's the problem that I have. And countries like Liberia and countries like Sierra Leone and Uganda, this needs to be discussed. It's a big problem.
Oh, yeah. It is a problem. Actually, I did a video on the infrastructural problems, primarily the sanitation issues in Nigeria. Like, their sanitation is probably rated at, I mean, the absolute worst in the world.
It's India.
India. Well, yeah, but I'm talking, they're rated as amongst one of the worst in the world. Yeah, India is freaking atrocious. But you know, and you know, so they have a lot of issues, and it's affecting their growth. Like, even with the healthcare system, their healthcare system is rated really bad as well. And a lot of it's just infrastructural spending, man. They're not spending the amount of money that they need to be spending on it to even get it up to par, like a lot of the other countries are. Like, even I think what's the name of the country? It's Ghana is spending like double what Nigeria is spending on sanitation and healthcare. So it just goes to show where the priorities are in a lot of some of the other countries in West Africa, opposed to like Nigeria. They're just not spending the money on it, man. And a lot of this is still due to corruption. You got to understand, from like 1980, I think it was, to now, man, they've siphoned over like $20 trillion, man. That's like the amount of the the national deficit in America, man. They've siphoned that much money off due to corruption. So, you know, when you have levels of corruption that high, it's hard to get anything done, you know, that will bolster the country's, you know, overall success. So, you know, it's very problematic. That's why I'm really invested in learning a little bit more about the different countries in Africa, because a lot of the other countries are starting to play a little bit more by the rules and are advancing. I would say their overall, Nigeria gets a lot of respect due to the fact that they have one of the highest GDPs in the continent of Africa. But what people don't understand is a lot of that is predicated primarily on just the oil. And now that the oil is, you know, not, you know, being, it's selling, the barrels are not selling as high anymore. They're gonna, you know, they're experiencing a lot of economic upheaval. And I think a lot of the other countries with more sound infrastructures, more sound growth patterns are going to be a lot more successful in the years to come than Nigeria.
I totally fucking agree. Dynast, let's talk about, because you mentioned you've been to several countries. What, outside of South Africa, which one was the most developed country that is investing in infrastructure where, you know, people can instantly go in and you have no problem with transportation, ready to do business? What country did you think that you've been to that was developed and it was, you know, very similar to the West, in your opinion?
I would say Nairobi's doing a good job, but the best as far as infrastructure country that I visited was Namibia. Like, the roads were better than, just the infrastructure in general was better in Namibia than any country I've been to. And better here in America. So I would definitely say Namibia. Kenya, Nairobi, I was very impressed with Nairobi as far as their infrastructure as well. Overall, West Africa is somewhat behind when it comes to infrastructure versus East Africa. I don't know why. Because Senegal, as far as infrastructure, when you go to certain places in the car and outside of the city, it gets a little shaky. Mali, as far as Bamako, which is the capital city, it's a little bit better. It's getting better versus when I went there. My first time I went there in 2013. Ever since I've been there last, which was just this last December. But I would say Namibia by far is number one, but then Nairobi too, because the population is so big that I was impressed with the infrastructure for being such a large city.
Let's talk to you about this, and both of you here. It's like Namibia is doing good. I mean, like, Namibia has a good economy, man. Like, just for 2 million people, There's some money in Namibia. Let me talk to you brothers about this because there's a big debate about should the African Union open its borders, like the European Union, for example. When I got into Austria, I can just without anybody checking me, I can go from Poland, I can go to Germany, I can go to Budapest, I can go anywhere. There's no borders. You just hop in between country. You can go to Romania, any place in the European Union. And there's no border patrol. You just fucking go. Do you think that the African Union should do the same thing for African people to say, hey, there's no borders, roam as you want?
I wanted to shoot. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think if you have, well, the idea from what I heard or understood was pretty much anybody in the diaspora, and of course Africans, you'll have one central passport where you can travel throughout pretty much any country in Africa. Currently, right now in West Africa, you have the ECOWAS, where you have a passport from a West African country. You can pretty much, it's pretty much borderless for you as long as you have a West African passport. But yeah, I think it'll be a great idea just to open it up as far as tourism. Because you have to understand, I know a lot of Africans, like we'll just take, for example, Kenya, who they probably only been to one other African country.
Oh yeah.
Like that's very common. It's just kind of like growing up, people growing up with people in Sacramento, like they've never been on a fucking plane. And that amazes me. Like they never flew on an airplane or been outside of California. Like there's a lot of that in Africa as well, which surprises me. So I would think by opening up the borders, it would encourage Africans to actually see other African countries.
Well, let me also talk about this before you get to Mr. Black. I noticed that if you're traveling in between African countries, it's much more fucking expensive. Even if you're going from like Uganda to Tanzania.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's way more expensive than it is for me to go to Paris.
Right.
Like, let me give you an example. Go ahead, Dynast. Go ahead.
No, I know exactly what you're saying, but there are some low-cost airlines. Okay. I think it's called Fly 540, but I think they're operated out of South Africa, where like literally you could fly on Fly 540 from like, we'll say Tanzania or Kenya to South Africa round trip for like, maybe 150, 200 bucks, which is actually pretty good, pretty fucking good. Or I know they fly from like Tanzania or Kenya to what's that small country in between? In between Uganda. I gotta look at my map now. Like even like Zambia or I gotta look at my damn map. Hold on. Use African map. But there are some low cost airlines, but for some reason, like going to Uganda isn't on the list for some reason. It just depends on where you're going.
Okay.
Burundi, that's the country.
Okay, Burundi. Oh yeah. A French-speaking country. Yeah. Okay. A francophone country. What about you, Mr. Black?
Yeah, I do think that they need to open up the borders, man. Definitely. I was up here reading some of these comments, man. But I definitely think they need to open up the borders. But like I say, I don't know. I need to research a little bit more. I hate to talk about stuff that I don't know enough about as to the reasons why it's like that. I have heard a little bit of chattering as to, I know that many of the South Africans, well, I've heard that some of the South Africans and some of the other African countries don't necessarily like a lot of the Nigerians in their countries for some reason. And I've heard also other countries not like, I don't know enough about like the reasons as to why, you know what I mean?
I'll tell you right now, and I know Nigerians get upset when I bring this up, but I think no one in Africa likes Nigerians, bro. Like,
they don't, man. That's fucking true.
I'm being honest. Like, for example, O'Shea, I was watching your video about the Forex and the money. Mm-hmm. Like, literally in Kenya, If you have a $50 bill and it's not a certain year, they won't accept it because.
Same thing in Uganda.
Say that one more time.
Yep, same thing in Uganda.
Okay, they won't accept it because Nigerians were counterfeiting the money. You know, when I was everywhere I go, and they think I'm either South African or Nigerian, when I tell them I'm not Nigerian, they're like, oh my God, thank God. So I just think for the most part, all over Africa, like they don't like Nigerians because it had a lot to do with fraud, counterfeiting. I mean, that's been like the common consensus wherever I go. Like we don't fuck with Nigerians like that. Which is like, damn, Nigerians have a bad reputation in Africa.
That is actually true, man. Even Ugandan people do not like. But here's the thing, though, man. It's funny they will say that they don't like Nigerians, but you see a lot of Nigerian influence, man. If you go to the club, all you're gonna hear is Nigerian music, man. If Nigerian dudes show up there, Nigerian dudes get a lot of Kenyan women. They get a lot of Ugandan women, from what I've been told. Like people will talk shit about them, but everybody looks to Nigeria. I think it's like this: Nigerians look to African Americans, right? But in Africa, like as soon as you get to Africa, you kind of know who the big kids on the block are. Definitely, even in Ethiopia at the airport, it's a Nigerian show. You know what I mean? Everybody's rocking DeVito, listen to DeVito. Nigeria owns Africa as far as entertainment and music, where I think African Americans have the whole black diaspora on lock when it comes to everything else. But when you get to Africa, it's no doubt about it who the big kids are on the block. Nigerians, Africa is their playground.
Right.
It's just what it is. I mean, you can say what you want to say. You know, it's like, you know, maybe if African Americans were to go to Africa more, than yes, but Nigerians, when they're in any African country, Ethiopian, listen, man, Nigerians run shit. I'm just telling you from what I've seen. When the club, Nigerian dudes run shit in Africa. They do. They get the most chicks. They're the most aggressive. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is, man. You can hate them or love them. Nigerians run Africa, bro. I've seen it firsthand. I've seen their culture. You can't go to a club and 70% of the music will be Nigerian. You talking about movies, Nollywood is selling like a muffin out there. You know what I'm saying? It's just what it is. They don't run South Africa, they're getting their ass slaughtered down there. I mean, I can tell you this much. They got more infrastructure when it comes to entertainment and music than anybody, and their music videos are the best. I mean, you watch a Nigerian music video, man, you be like, am I watching an American video? Yeah. They should be on point, man. I gotta give it to them. They should be on point, fam. You can't hate on them niggas. Them niggas they do the big fucking things, man. When you go there, they got a lot of haters, but they taking niggas bitches left and right when they showing up. Facts. They taking niggas hoes.
Yeah.
They gonna take your bitch. If you're an African dude, you show up, they're taking your bitches. No doubt about it. They taking your hoes quickly. Man, don't even worry about it, nigga. They gone. Your bitch is gone. Believe me. But let's see. Let's talk a little bit about this. Let me take a little bit of a break, man, because we've been rocking for a minute. Shout out to my bros, man. We always make a classic podcast. You see, my man Dynast Amir. I gotta get one of them things. I'm actually gonna order one. He said he's gonna give you one for the free, but I gotta support black business. Let me do this real quick. When he says that, okay, I have a writer for the NegroManosphere.com named Sylvanus Omanoyi out of Lagos, Nigeria. Shout out to Sylvanus Omanoyi. The reason why I cannot do more business with him is the same reason what he said. I wanted to get more black writers writing for the Negro Manosphere. I see we have Tunde Umana from SlayingEvil.com in the chat. He's written 7 articles for me at the Negro Manosphere. We had a writer from Kenya who's written several articles. Dr. Perry Stanislaw has written several articles. The problem with doing business with African writers is that they don't fuck with PayPal. So I have to get my guy, who's Nikki And what he has to do is he has to wire them the money. So I can't just directly send, I got to send it to MoneyGram or other places. That, like, again, it's a lack of technology. You know, if I want to send Dynast some money, I can just PayPal them and it's over with. But when you're dealing with, you know, certain people, you have to MoneyGram them, or you have to, like, you know, they get tired of having to go down to the MoneyGram and pick it up. They want you to wire it to their account. And it's just a problem. That's how it is in Africa, man. It's a problem doing business. So shout out to them. Look at the likes up on the videos, man. I got 160 people watching right now. So we're at let's do this real quick. Let's get 5 people more to like the videos. This is any spirituals on the nigga master. Nigga, this ain't no goddamn gospel group. What the nigga said spirituals? What the kind of shit is that, nigga? Stop the show. You see this shit? Any nigga said any spirituals on there. Nigga, you know goddamn middle course? What the fuck you think this is? Church? Nigga said any spirituals on them.
John P.
I'm gonna boot your motherfucking ass out of this shit real quick. Give me 4 more likes, man. 4 more likes in the building, players. Nigga said any spirituals. I will boot your ass out of here. All right, let me kind of get my experience on the borders, man. Of the African Union. And like I said, I've only been to one African country. My goal, I've written down the African countries that I want to go to. I want to go to each English-speaking one by 2020. That's my goal. And then go to the Francophones. That's how I have it like this. I want to say that a country like South Africa, if I was South Africa in the African Union, if I'm either South Africa, Namibia, Botswana, I'm leaving the African Union. And this is why I'm going to say this, right? If they allow all open borders to that country, South Africa is going to be in poverty in a year. That's where everybody's going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're going to see more violence from foreigners. If I'm South Africa, I'm out of African Union. And I hate to say that, or maybe even if I'm Nigerian, right? Think about a country like Egypt, a country that like Morocco that has money, like maybe Angola. Those countries, those people that are going to those places are going to meet a lot of violence. You know what I'm saying? I think that before the African Union starts opening up the borders, it's not a good idea to do that. I don't think now, because there's going to be a lot of violence. You're going to have a lot of crimes, a lot of murders. You're going to have a lot of people, you know, coming from very, very poor places, competing in with other people. It's going to be really a bad thing, you know, because the infrastructure is not like it is in the European Union. You still have to deal with their bad roads all throughout Africa, I'm pretty sure. You know, you have lack of opportunity, you have a lack of infrastructure. I think certain things have to be addressed first. You need better roads, you need better electricity, you need a lot of functional things before you just, you know what I'm saying, do that. I think there's a lot of chaos. I don't agree with I agree with doing it eventually, but I damn sure don't think you should go in there. I think if South Africa is smart, if that ever happens, they better do what Brexit did and do it Afrexit. Get the fuck out of Africa. They have to. You have to. If you're Botswana, you're Namibia, you got to get the fuck out of the African Union. You have to. You have no choice because everybody is gunning for you.
And that's why I say I don't know enough about, because I'm sure it's for a reason. I know that it is a lot of conflicts with a lot of you know, with a lot of the immigrants that move from country to country. I've seen that. So it's like, I don't know. I know it has to be reasons, you know, especially like when you think South Africa, even Kenya. You know, Kenya has a very diversified economy as well.
Yeah.
You know, so it'd be hard for them to just take in a lot of these people from some of these countries that are just like almost hunter-gatherer level. I mean, how would you take these people in? they have no semblance of an understanding of, you know, just general economic structure or anything. So, you know, just to open the borders carte blanche like that, I think that would be probably, you know, very problematic, you know. But I don't know. I really just don't know enough about, you know, the different dynamics and the interplay and how that kind of works in terms of African immigration from country to country. You know, probably Dynast to probably be the most knowledgeable on that, just being that he's been in multiple countries. You know,
I think when they say open the borders, it's more for traveling and tourism, not being able to, you know, just like live there. Now,
but how would you you know, stop it? You know, if we can't stop it here in America, we have a very sophisticated.
No, I mean, no, you make a great point. Well, I think you would still have to ask, like, where are you staying? Where are you going? You know, who you're staying with, kind of like we do now. But I just think it's not going to be, you don't have to necessarily get a visa. For example, when you go to Senegal, if you have an American passport, you don't need a visa. And technically, if I wanted to, I could stay there. But then there's a list of questions, you know, where are you going? Where are you staying? Where's your address? Who do you know? And then at the same time, if they want to, they can still deny me entry into that country, even though it's visa free. So, prime example, if somebody's coming from, we'll say Eritrea, Somalia, the countries where you have a lot of refugees currently, you know, they could ask those questions like, okay, let me see your passport. Okay, this is a Somalian passport. Where are you going? Where are you staying? Now, you might not need a visa. You might not need to pay for a visa, but they can still deny you entry. So, you know, when we say opening up the borders, it's just you don't have to have a visa, but they can still deny you entry into that country if they want to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
well, I guess let's talk about it in terms of delivering goods and stuff. And shout out to everybody who's been rocking with us. I know this is like a different type of podcast. We're talking about some things that are not, you know, very spoken with in the manosphere. I know a lot of us talk about the single mothers and hoes and how they get played and all this shit. Don't get me back. I'm gonna get back to that shit. I know you niggas like that shit. Don't get back. I'm getting back to the good shit. All right, I'm getting back to the. Oh shit, man, we gonna talk about these hoes, nigga. Talk about these hoes. I'm gonna get back to the hoes. Don't worry about nothing, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat. But I mean, this is why I you know. I'm trying to help you guys. Hold on, take that hoodie off, nigga. Tell your mom to take my dick out of her mouth. What the fuck you talking about? You're always trying to tell me what to do. Let me be hot, nigga. Fuck you. Okay, listen. But I'm there in the continent, right? I was watching. I think I told you about this. What's these people on YouTube? They document a lot of experience in Africa. They're white. What's their name? I was talking about that last time.
the website.
What are these people? What's their name?
I forgot. They go to different countries and like hook up with chicks and tell you which country you can hook up with.
No, not this. This is it was a group of white people. They own this. You could call them racist a little bit, but they documenting their experience like all throughout Africa. They're like 7 million subscribers, something crazy. But anyway,
I don't know.
They're talking about. They're saying it takes 25 hours to cross the border of Benin into Nigeria to Benin.
It took them what?
24 hours. Now, these are people who are delivering trucks and goods and shit.
Okay.
And then when they get to the border patrol, as you know, it's corruption at the border patrol. You got to pay certain people. They take you into these little rooms. I know because myself, I got a story. I was pulled into a security room in Uganda and had to pay like a few dollars to get about that bitch. I was recording in the apartment complex on my GoPro, and the niggas hit me up. I had to pay about 10,000 shillings, which was about like $2 or $3. And so, you know, imagine if you have goods, TVs and shit. You know what I'm saying? You have, I don't know, peanut butter or produce. And, you know, it takes you 25 hours to go 100 miles. And on each side of the border, you're getting bribed. And that happens a lot out there. This drives the price of goods up. Pepsis, Sprites. What can Africa do, can African countries do to expedite the delivery of certain goods and services like this, trucking and stuff like that? Because if it takes you 25 hours to go 100 miles because the border is so packed, that's crazy. I mean, what could be a better way to do it?
When I go back, let me make a note to myself. When I go back to Africa, because I know a lot of times, man, a lot of these sites and different platforms, they rely on sensationalism. So I'll research that.
Oh, it's called Vice. That's what it was. Criminal Justice Vice. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So let me tell you about Vice. So Vice was started by a white supremacist. I can't think of this guy's name, but he's been outed. So again, a lot of these sites, man, especially like Vice, is all about sensationalism. So I'll research that. I know I'm not gonna lie, there are some infrastructure issues when it comes to, like, prime example, if I want to mail something, like, it is expensive as hell to mail something from Atlanta to Senegal versus Atlanta to you. Like, it's expensive as hell. And I think a lot of that. Okay, so prime example, if I wanted to, we'll say an outfit like this.
Okay.
Like, I get orders from France sometime, and I get a lot of orders from the UK sometime for certain things. In fact, I did something the other day. It was probably maybe $15 to ship it to France, where I shipped it from. Mm-hmm. If I'm in France, if I want to ship something to America, it's roughly about the same price, maybe a little bit more.
Okay.
When I ship stuff from Senegal back to America, like, kind of like this, it's damn near like $30 just for the thing that you can fold up and ship. And this is not priority mail or anything sexy. It's just regular standard mail. If I wanted to send this like EMS, which is very popular in Africa, it's like double the price, like $60. Mm-hmm. So I just think certain things like that is as far as infrastructure with shipping, dealing with mail, postal, can be expensive. But as far as it being normal for a truck that's delivering goods from Nigeria to Benin for it to take over 24 hours, I gotta research that, bro. I'm just not buying that that's normal, because when I buy goods like simple as sodas or whatnot, and when I buy it in Africa, the shit is still cheaper than it is here in America.
So that's a good point.
O'Shea, you were talking about buying alcohol at the club.
Yeah.
I was in Namibia, and I forgot what I bought. I think I bought a beer. In America, that beer might have been like $4 in like a bar setting. Mm-hmm. When I was in Namibia, it was like, when you converted it, it was like $1 and some change. I bought everybody at the bar a beer because it was so fucking cheap. So again, that's cheap in Africa. That's why I'm not buying that is normal for a truck that's delivering goods to take 24 hours from Nigeria to Benin. Yes, does it happen as far as people hustling? As far as bribery going on, does it happen? Yeah, of course it does. Mm-hmm. But it just really depends on who's working the port that day, or who's working the entry visa passport control today, because that's just not normal. Because, dealing with customs in Atlanta versus dealing with customs in LA is totally different. Customs in LA, when I had stuff shipped from Africa to LA, were cool. For some odd reason, customs in Atlanta, they were freaking assholes. So it might take me the process to get my item claimed from customs in LA after it arrives might take a day, versus when I had some shit shipped from Mali to Atlanta and dealing with customs, like literally it was a back and forth fucking process that took almost 4 or 5 days. So again, it just depends on the person and the individual that you're dealing with on the other side.
Let me say this before I go to Mr. Black. You make a strong, powerful point. When I was in Uganda, I bought several Sprites and Cokes. Let me do my converting factors real quick. I did that for the price of 2,000 shillings, right? 2,000 shillings is about 56 cents, which is even less expensive than what it would have been in Poland, and Poland is cheap. Definitely less expensive than what it would have been in America. I went to Club Space in Uganda, our bar, the Space Lounge in Uganda. I was buying shots of Hennessy for 1,000 shillings a shot, okay? This is the SOP, $2.79. I was drunk in the motherfucker, right? When I went to a 4-star restaurant cafeteria in the Acacia Mall, I was paying 13,000 shillings per shot, $3.62 a shot at a 4-star restaurant. So I think you got a good point, man, because a lot of this stuff I was getting for dirt cheap. And it was so dirt cheap, I was actually spending more money because I could, because it was dirt cheap. Right. You know what I mean? So a lot of shit I was getting, a lot of shit in Africa, well, when it comes to their currency, because the dollar is really strong against the shilling. You can get a lot of shit. I mean, you can buy a bottle of Hennessy at Cafeteria for 500,000 shillings. Now, 500,000 shillings, that is 139 bucks. I mean, but you can't buy a bottle of Hennessy, in Atlanta or in Oakland or Chicago, for not in the club, for 139 bucks. So I think you got a good point, man. I think there might be some fuckery in there.
Because we were talking about this the other day. Like, remember when we were kids, like you could get a soda out of the vending machine for like 25 or 50 cents. Yeah. Now in this vending machine is like $1.20, like a bag of chips in these vending machines now are like $1.25.
Yeah.
Back then for a kid, 50 cents for a bag of Doritos, or sometimes 25 cents. So yeah, shit is just high over here, but shit over there is dirt cheap.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I experienced a little bit of difference. Like when I was in Nigeria, but it was probably because I was just so I was acting bougie, man. I was like, I refused to eat the regular food, man. Like I was in all of the Americanized restaurants you can.
Me too. I was saying.
Why?
Bro, it wasn't until like my last couple weeks, man, that I started even trying African native food, man. And I hate to even like admit that, but I was fearful, man. Like I was just fearful, man. Like
I was bro. That's all. When I go to Africa, I stay away from Westernized shit. I want the local street food. I want the local.
Whoa, yeah. I was, towards the end, I started doing it. Like I was eating like the soya meat. I toward the end, man, but it was like at the beginning, man, for some reason, I was so shell shocked. Like you gotta understand, this is my first experience. Like now, if I go back, I think I'd be a little bit more, a little bit more liberal in my choices. But man, initially, man, I'm telling you, I ate pizza. Bro, I ate pizza and I think it was like KFC, man. And then I ate that almost like every day, man. Like every day, like every single day, like every meal. Like I ate some type of Americanized food, like every single day. So, yeah, it was horrible.
I ain't traveling way to Africa to eat some damn KFC. That's not. Fuck that shit. I ate whatever the Africans are eating. That's what I ate.
Did you have any issues?
Plantain though out there that was off the chain. So shout out to that. It actually was funny. I actually threw up in a restaurant that was not an African. It was Cafe Java's. I threw up right on the fucking floor. I couldn't even get to the bathroom. So that was American food, isn't it? So I didn't. So shout out to So you can go to Africa and get food poisoning and not even eat African food. Eat some American shit.
Yeah. So
let me do this. You guys keep talking. I gotta take a piss, nigga. My bladder is out of control. God damn. You guys talk about some shit. I'm gonna be right back.
All right. But yeah. Next time I go, man, I'm gonna be a lot more open, man. I think I was just fearful, man. I don't know what I didn't that jollof rice. I tried that. That was awesome.
Yeah.
But you know, a lot of that stuff I just didn't do, man, till the end, man. I was just, I don't know. It's
Yeah,
ignorant
man.
of me to be looking back
Like
though.
when I go to Senegal, like we all share a big bowl. We all eat with our hands. Like I love that shit, bro. That's the best.
Oh wow.
The best shit.
So
Yeah, I don't.
wait a
Yeah.
minute. So you eat with your hands? So everybody eat with their hands, or like how does that work?
In Senegal, they do. Like they'll share a bowl and everybody will eat with their hands, and that shit was great.
Wow. So you don't worry about, I guess, that's just what it is.
I mean,
You don't.
everybody washes their hands, so everybody washes
Oh,
their hands.
okay.
We all eat out at the same bowl. Like I did the street food was delicious. Like I don't do like fancy restaurants when I go to Africa. I want the real shit. Like I want to go to eat. I want to eat in people's houses. I want to eat the street food. I want to go
Wow.
to the local spots that people go to. Like I completely avoid anything westernized when I go to Africa, especially when it comes to
Wow.
food.
Tell me this. That's bold. Tell me this. Did you ever eat anything that you was like just like completely disagreeable, or like was most of the stuff that you ate just fairly tasty?
Oh no, I mean, well, I'm not big on spicy food, so I can't really handle spicy food really. But um, no, I mean everything for the most part I ate was good. You know, so
Yeah.
I enjoyed
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Next time I go, man, I'm gonna definitely try more local, man. I started towards the end, man. I guess I was just a little bit more fearful initially. You know what I mean? And funny thing is, everything that I tried, I liked. So it wasn't like, it was just complete ignorance. You know what I mean? From on my part, it wasn't like I didn't like it once I tried it. So, you know,
Yeah, but you got to definitely. The food is. Oh God, the food was so good.
where
Especially
you planning? Where you planning on going next when you head back out there?
in November, I'll be in Senegal, in Ghana, and then early January, I'll be in Togo and Benin.
How do you afford? How do you just go out there? Do you work when you go out
Yeah,
there, or do you just?
I have a job, so I'm in corporate America, so I just save my money and go.
Oh, okay. And then, how did your job cool with you just heading out? Or?
Yeah, man, I have vacation built up, so I built the company up like 7 years, so I have.
Oh, got you.
They changed it now. It's called PTO or some shit, which even gives me more vacation. Because I don't take sick days, so I just use those sick days towards my vacation.
Got you. Nice. Yeah, I want to go to I probably want to go to South Africa next, or Gabon.
Go to Gabon. Go to Gabon. South Africa is America, man. Go to Gabon.
Go to Gabon, huh?
Yeah, that's where I'm going. I'm gonna go to Gabon next year.
Nice. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about heading out too, man. It depends, man. It's either gonna be I think we want to go to Cuba this year and possibly South Africa. I don't know which one we're gonna go to, but definitely one of them. We'll see. You know, we'll see. But I'm probably finna have to head out, man. I got to matter of
Yeah,
fact, yeah, I gotta my girl, I gotta finna get ready to go Six Flags or something, man. I don't know, man. We'll see. But yeah, But is O'Shea back yet?
no, not yet.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna tell him I'm gonna head out and I'm gonna holler back at you. But it was a great discussion, man. Talking with y'all, man. I may
All right.
try to listen in. Listen in as I head out.
I guess O'Shea taking the shit.
Huh?
I guess
Oh
O'Shea's
yeah. He taking a long route. I don't know if he coming back. I wanted to wait for him to get back. Let him know. Ain't no telling what's going on, man. So you say you going to Gabon next?
yeah, next year I will.
Oh, okay. What was the last place you been to?
Benin in January.
Benin. How did you like that?
Absolutely loved it. I went to the Voodoo Festival.
Nice. Yeah, I definitely need to travel to a bunch of different places, man. I heard Nigeria, man. I heard that the economy is like really, really going bad out there, man. One of my buddies just hollered at me about it. yesterday I was talking to him. He just got back from Nigeria, and he was saying how the economy is just horrible out there. He said like it's like 400 naira to to every $1 out there right now. So
Wow.
yeah, so it's crazy out there. So I guess Nigeria is feeling that the pain of that lack of you know, oil money coming in. What is O'Shea doing, man?
Yeah. Take a shit.
But let me I'm gonna head out, man, because I got my girl up here waiting on me. But I'm gonna holler at you boys, man. But yeah, y'all stay up, man.
All right, for sure, man.
All right, all right.
Oh, okay. Everybody's asking about my the site with my clothing. Go to www.dynastamir.com. That's the site, and then everything is custom made. So basically, you'll just provide your measurements, and then we'll custom make the clothes for you. So this right here is called a kaftan. All right. I hate using the term dashiki. I think dashiki is the African American term for describing a long shirt or a kaftan. So this is called a kaftan. So these are custom made in Senegal. All this is hand stitched. Okay, everything is made by hand, and you give me your sizes, we'll custom make it for you and have it shipped to you. So again, just go to the site www.dynastamir.com. That's DYNASTAMIR.com. I have not visited Swaziland. I've been to South Africa. Not a big fan of South Africa because it's pretty much America. Again, the link is www.dynastamir.com. Let's see here. Yeah, this is the real African situation that I wear. I don't wear a lot of these dashikis that you see people walking around here in America from China and India.
Come back and bring and exchange some more chicken for some more of your shit. You're always welcome.
Here we go.
Oh shit, I'm back, nigga.
I would go to South Sudan. I would.
All right, hold on, niggas. I just want y'all to.
Hey, O'Shea, do me a favor. Can you type my website in the chat, the dynastamir.com?
Yeah, I sure can. Sorry, I can't do it
for some
What's
reason.
it, baby? Yeah, I'm working. Hold on, Dynastamir,
.com.
Cool. Listen, y'all keep talking that's unprofessional, but I'm hungry than a motherfucker. This is a good thing.
Well, okay, do this, bro. Because I mean, Mr. Black, he left. He had to go spend some time with his kids. I mean, we could, if you want to just close out, we could close out.
I didn't know you had kids, man.
Who?
Mr. Black.
Yeah, he said he got. Yeah, he said his wife or something.
Oh shit! You know, niggas make a minute to get off the goddamn paper. But yeah, man. I mean, I don't know. Anything else you want to talk about?
Nah, I think
we had a good show, man.
Yeah. So I guess we could close out and keep it pushing. But man, I'm happy you finally got to experience Africa, man. I'm so happy you went, bro.
Yeah, man.
So happy you went.
We got to rock back out, man. Once again, yeah, y'all know I'm a nigga. This is I got a lot of shit. Keep going back to dynastamir.com. I got to go over there and order some shit too. And me and Dynast gonna take this shit over. We're gonna actually. My whole thing is to go with Dynast or me Dynast. I meet him in Africa, and we're gonna do some crazies. We're gonna really, document all of the stuff in Africa, for y'all. But so when you going to your next trip, man?
I'll leave in November. Early November, I'm going to Senegal. Late November, I'm going to Ghana.
Damn, what kind of money you got, boy? The same month? Somebody tell me. So, all right. Well, anyways, man, my man, go to his YouTube channel, put in the description link, search for Uhuru, Dynast Amir. He ain't no stranger to this channel. So he been doing this thing, man. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to my man right there. Hopefully he can come back like this week. I gotta go to Tanzania myself, man, because Tanzania, I saw a ticket for like around $750 for the visa. I can Airbnb that thing for about another $200. So I can get the whole thing. Well, I take my girl next time. So I told her I'll take her to Africa. So about $1,750, I can get both of us in there. So that's what I'm Tanzania next. And shout out to everybody, Full Circle, Charles Willie. Keep on going to www.dynastamir.com. The brother's doing some big things. Anything else you want to say, Dynast?
No, that's it, man. Well, I always close out. I mean, we just need more Black platforms like yours. So just thank you for taking your time out and creating a platform, a positive platform like you have right now, because the bullshit that is going on in mainstream media, especially with Black people, is just to the point now, it's just damn near embarrassing and disgusting. So, I mean, seriously, man, it's just fucking embarrassing. These people Black people that are just so desperate for fame and want to chase Hollywood and just compromise who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Just to be in Hollywood, man, it's making the culture just look all the way fucked up. So we need more brothers like you to continue to do what you do. And
brothers like you too, man. So shout out to Dynast Amir. I got a couple of his books from his website. He has also books. You have children's books. The brother's really positive, man. He's like I always tell the story. He don't like talk about it. He used to be the best running back. Well, I don't know, man. I gotta say this because there was a homeboy of mine I went to high school with. You know what his name is?
Ontario
Leotis Smith.
the Wizinator.
Yeah, but I say you probably the second best running back to ever come out of sack, man. Because Ontario
better than Ontario.
What'd you say?
That. I was better than Ontario. Fuck that.
You bastard. But that 3,000 yards, man. That 3,000 yards in 1 year. That nigga was. I mean, Ontario just every time he got the ball, he ran like he hated everybody. Every time,
right.
Man. That's how he ran the ball. And just he was insane with the ball. Like every time I never seen him break so many tackles, man. But my other partner, gosh, shout out, he's pretty good. KC Maxwell, you know KC from Jesuit.
Yeah, what's KC up to now?
He should be living in Atlanta where you live at.
That's right. KC went to Morehouse, didn't he?
He went to Morehouse for like a year or so, but he should be living out there where you at.
Okay.
You remember my boy Marcus Wagner, right?
I don't remember Marcus Wagner. I remember KC though.
Yeah, KC. KC's living in out there. Him and what's the boy, man? The white boy that was a fullback. Was on steroids. What was his name? Jerry, something like that.
All the white dudes for Jesuit were on steroids.
What's the dude? He was a fullback though. He was blocking all the time. What's his name?
I don't remember, but all them dudes were on steroids. Ryman?
Yeah. You ever heard from Ronnie Gaitan? Ronnie Gaitan?
I played with Roddy, yeah.
Yeah, he was strong as hell too. Short, big, white, stocky dude.
Yeah, he's my fullback.
Yeah, y'all wrestled like 1,000 yards, right? Well, he had 1,000. He had about. Yeah, that's my boy, man. Kook.
You know Kook? Yeah.
That's my partner, man. You see him, man. He know me. I've been knowing him for years.
I got a funny story. I just can't say it online, but it was B and his little brother. But I just can't say it online. But
Mel Pulovich?
Mel. Bell, yeah, I played with Bell.
Lefty. He played receiver, didn't he?
Yeah, and quarterback.
Yeah. Steve ended up playing baseball at Sac State or something like that. But
Yeah.
Yeah. So we know a lot of the same people, man. So shout out to you, man, and your channel. You gotta hit me up on the emails. We can do the little offline chat and talk about that.
All right, I will. I hit you up.
All right, so anyway, y'all, we about to be out, man. You know, me and him from the same city, man. So we went to the same school. Just missed each other by a year. So I'm out this piece, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat. It was a great show. This brother has helped me learn about Africa. If you really want to know about Africa and how it really works, I don't think there's a better channel on YouTube that you can really get it from an African American perspective than his. You really gotta check his channel out. Search for Uhuru. He's really doing the Lord's work with that, man. He goes over in Africa, not just the cities. He actually goes into the villages, you know, and records the straight village life. A lot of people are not gonna do that, man. So shout out to him for doing that. You know, my man Doug, wake the hell up. All right, man. I'm working on the videos right now. Shout out to Dynast. I'm out. I got this chicken, cornbread.
All right, I appreciate it, man.
All right, man. Peace, man.